Richard. Important news. New information has come to light.
Maynard. Hello, Maynard. Oh, Happy New Year to you.
And Happy New Datsun to you too. Look, never mind that. Listen to this. Vital information about a pending disclosure.
Really? Okay. Well, this is episode 900 of the Skeptic Zone, you know, and I guess we could use some dramatic news. What is it?
Just listen, Richard. Listen to it like you would a new Lady Gaga single.
I think 2024 in future will be seen, ironically, as the calm before the storm.
Wow.
I think very early in 2025, all hell is going to break loose. Watch.
You heard that here first, folks. I mean, to say all hell's going to break loose in early 2025, you don't get a lot of wiggle room on that one, Ross. You know,
nope.
By March of 2025, I'm going to be holding you accountable saying, okay, You said, let's hear it.
You see, Mr. Self-Satisfied Skeptical Guy in 2026, you see, any day now. Could be a Tuesday.
I hate to tell you this, Maynard, but 2025 has come and gone and nothing happened.
What? I wonder what all that noise was about on New Year's Eve. Well, Mr. Smarty Pants Skeptic, if you are, I'm ready for you. Just listen to this. Put this in your skeptical pipe and vape it.
There's certainly something going to happen in 2027, and I don't know what it is.
Okay.
I've also heard 2034, and I've also heard other dates, much later.
Look, you see, I don't know about you, but I'm going to get the washing in straight away while there's still time. I've got the good stuff out there, I don't want my blacks to fade.
Well, looks like our goose is cooked. But in the meantime, why don't we just listen to the Skeptic Zone?
I think you're looking at this the wrong way, Richard. Disclosure Day is the big movie by Spielberg coming out in June. It's going to be huge. It's going to be bigger than Ice-T's version of War of the Worlds, and that was huge. I'm sure you'll remember it. 2026, the year of the horse.
Welcome to the Skeptic Zone, the podcast from Australia for science and reason.
Yes, it's the Skeptic Zone podcast, episode 900 for the 4th of January 2026. And a Happy New Year to Maynard. And what would another year be without a Maynard calendar? And you can download your free Maynard calendar from maynard.com.au. But yes, episode 900 of the Skeptic Zone. And the only reason there are 900 episodes of the Skeptic Zone is due to the generosity and patronage of listeners just like you. So I thank each and every one of you who listen, but especially each and every one of you who contribute via PayPal or Patreon to keep the Skeptic Zone going. And a particular listener who is very, very thoughtful and generous, and I was able to purchase a new studio microphone. I have no deal with the Rode people, but I do like their microphones, and I'm using a Rode Procaster for those people interested in that sort of thing. Being 2026 means the Skeptic Zone podcast has been broadcast in 18 different years. Hard to believe. And a little note, if you use Spotify, the link to the Skeptic Zone on Spotify is now fixed or clear. It wasn't happening for some reason, and somebody brought that to my attention. Anyway, the Skeptic Zone is easy now to find on Spotify. And to find that, just go to the little icon at the top of the Skeptic Zone homepage at skepticzone.tv. Coming up on this week's show, the return of Dr. Rachie, Dr. Rachael Dunlop, one of the original reporters from all those years ago, from 2008, on the Skeptic Zone. Now, Dr. Rachie does a lot of work in the United States, researching and trying to understand motor neurone disease. What an important job she has. Anyway, Dr. Rachie catches up with myself and Tim Mendham to discuss the old days on the Skeptic Zone and what she's up to at the moment. And also we discuss AI being used to scam people. Following that, it's You Can Count on Adrienne with Adrienne Hill, looking at the number 900. Now, Adrienne loves to look at interesting numbers. That's why you can count on Adrienne. And she has a special guest looking at the mysterious aspects of 900, none other than Psychic Penny. Surely Canada's only true psychic. Then to round off the shows, it's back to the TROVE Archives, where we look at psychic predictions. Well, at this time of the year, we look forward into the new year to see what's coming, and psychics often give their prognostications. We're going to look back into history and see what they were supposing would happen in the years such as 1972, 1981, and 1986. Now, just getting back to that bit with Maynard and me, and playing a few clips from Ross Coulthart. There are so many clips of Ross Coulthart saying so many outrageous things it would be almost impossible to catalogue, but maybe we should. A list of his claims on a spreadsheet would be interesting. So nothing particularly happened last year. There was a movie. What was that name of the movie? Another UFO movie? The only UFO movie worth watching really is the UFO movie They Don't Want You to See. Look it up on YouTube. But no, I'm afraid for Ross Coulthart, nothing much happened in 2025. Do we really have to wait to 2027? Or what did he say, 2032 or some other year? I'm sure something's going to happen in a dramatic sense at some stage or other. I don't think it's going to be alien invasion. And as I record this, only in the last few hours, there was an invasion of sorts in Venezuela. And I don't recall any psychic warning us about that. Well, we'll see what happens in the weeks to come. A big shout out to all the reporters, past and present, who have made the Skeptic Zone what it is over all these years. From the early reporters such as Dr. Rachie and the late Michael Wallahan, who was such a nice guy right at the beginning of the Skeptic Zone with his reports, to more recently, the Skeptical Fairy. Yes, we have our own Skeptical Fairy Godmother Angel from the internet. My other reporters from around the world in the United States, in Canada, hello loons, and the reporters here in Australia. I thank you all. And I really don't care if it's Sunday morning here in Australia. I'm going to run downstairs, have a nice glass of champagne, and celebrate 900 episodes of The Skeptic Zone.
Now it's time for Dr. Rachie Reports with Dr. Rachael Dunlop.
And it is, and here is one of the original Skeptic Zone reporters, Dr. Rachie, Dr. Rachael Dunlop. Hello.
Hi, Richard. How are you? It's been a while, hasn't it?
A long time, yeah. Now, you and I go way back for the Skeptic Zone. In fact, you and I and Michael Wallahan did the very first think tank 18 years ago, something like that.
Oh my gosh, was it really? Was it in the RSL back then? The Canterbury Helston Park RSL? Yeah.
The club at the end of the street?
I do remember that. Yeah, that was fun. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they were fun times getting the show started in the very early days. And of course, you're still a reporter. Here you are, reporting.
I guess so, yeah. I'm in Sydney, actually, for the first time for, 9 years, I think. I don't think I've been to Sydney for 9 years, yeah.
What's your impressions? The change you would have seen the changes. Tim Mendham is sniggling in the background there.
Snigger.
Well, I don't know. Are there...
The Metro, have you been on the...
Oh, yeah, the Metro. Yeah, that's a nice train line. Yeah. I went back to my old apartment. Nothing's really changed there. The trees have grown more. That's about it. There's a lot more buildings in the city, I guess, right?
Yeah,
but, it's still pretty similar, isn't it?
It is. I think so. I haven't noticed any changes, but then you don't, do you?
9 years is a big gap. Now, for...
trees have grown up.
Your trees are... Yep.
Skeptics X Towers.
Yeah, we're in the X Towers of the Skeptics headquarters. But, of course, for listeners who have been with the show for many years will remember your reports. But for those people, the newer listeners, what was Dr. Rachie Reports all about, and what's your background?
Well, Dr. Rachie Reports was about complementary medicine, supplementary medicine, scams associated with alternative medicine, of which there are many, and also just delving into some fairly curious and sometimes hilarious complementary therapies. Do you remember? Well, I still find this really absurd, actually, not funny, but ear candles.
Yes.
I think they're still around, aren't they?
We would go to Mind Body Wallet and see ear candles. Right?
Yeah. Do you don't need to clarify what Mind Body Wallet means, do you? Not to these listeners. No, not to this audience. And then I do remember, maybe I did a report on this, but do you remember when Gwyneth Paltrow was steaming her hoo-ha?
Yes.
And then various rocks in places.
Yeah. And then she subsequently made a candle that smelt like hoo-ha or something. Yeah. Is that right?
Good grief. It's still going, but apparently not as successfully as it was actually in the past. There are some
Goop or
Goop.
Oh,
Yeah,
Goop,
it's sort of
company,
away, I believe.
Right?
And then you and I were very involved many years ago, in the tracking the anti-vaxxers, weren't we? Meryl Dorey and that crew.
Oh yeah. I mean, I haven't really kept up with that, honestly. It's too depressing to see them get a revival. So. Yeah, I mean, these things come in ebbs and flows, don't they? Right now they're riding high. It's just amazing that you just have to keep... It's like whack-a-mole. These things keep coming back all the time. People never learn. And I think, right now there's a revival of that kind of thing, which is just insane.
Now, and again, for those listeners who may not know, what's your profession and what are you doing researching? Because you live in Wyoming, don't you?
I live in Jackson Hole, which is a ski town in Wyoming. It's a blue town, actually, even though Wyoming is not. So my background is medical research. I'm a PhD medical researcher, and I'm working on brain diseases and nervous system diseases, in particular motor neurone disease is my focus at the moment. And I am here in Sydney because I'm working with some colleagues at Macquarie University, setting up a collaboration with them. And we are trying to develop, or rather get to the clinic, a blood test for motor neurone disease. Because right now the only way people can get diagnosed is by a skilled physician examining them, and then some of the symptoms are very similar to other diseases in the early stages, so they may have some crossover with Parkinson's disease, Lewy body disease, frontal temporal dementia. They sometimes even mimic Lyme disease. And so the only way a physician can determine if you have motor neurone disease versus something less awful, they're all awful, but less terminal, if you like, is by monitoring progression. So you have to wait up to 12 months. And if your disease has progressed fast, then they say you've got motor neurone disease. There's no blood test for it. And so many patients wait years and years and years to get a diagnosis. In the meantime, their bodies are breaking down, their muscles are breaking down. And so they need to have a test where they can get an answer faster. So that's what we're working on.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's no treatment for it, is it?
There are drugs, but they slow the progression, but not by very much. However, every intervention works better the earlier you get, you start taking it, right? So if you could get an earlier diagnosis and get on some of these drugs, they're not disease altering, but they will give you a little bit more life, because the survival time from diagnosis in motor neuron disease is about 2 to 5 years. So if you can get an extra year, that's worth it.
Well, it'd be handy to know beforehand, as early as possible.
Correct, as early as possible, so then you can get onto those drugs. And then, apart from that, can you imagine if you suddenly wake up one day and you can't pick up your coffee cup anymore, your foot is sort of falling as you're walking, you can't put your keys in the lock of your door, and for 5 years no one tells you what you've got. So how do you sleep at night, not knowing what is wrong with you? Nobody can tell you what's wrong with you. And so we know patients that get unnecessary medical treatments. They might have their spines fused. They might go and get stem cells in Mexico. They get they get scammed by a lot of people, and that takes time, money, and these people deserve more than that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And of course, this is what you and I have been doing since DOT, hasn't it? Look, trying to chase these scammings who take advantage of people who are dying in terrible diseases, and they're still doing it. But you must see that quite a bit with people in very desperate situations.
Well, I tell you what has happened to us recently, where I work in America. Some AI scammers got hold of some footage that we did with CNN. So CNN came into our lab and made a little documentary about our work. Some people that got some deep fake videos made of us, not me personally, but my colleagues, and had them change the words that were coming out of their mouth and made these hour-long testimonial things saying, we promote this supplement that is good for the brain. And so my colleague is pictured in these videos speaking and saying, yes, my father died of Parkinson's and now I've invented this drug and here's how you buy it. And she did not say that, and she does not make this drug. And so we've had an influx of people calling us up, knocking on our door, coming to our lab saying, we saw this thing on the internet, can you guys sell it to us, please? And it's a scam. Yeah. But what they've done too is it's not Google indexed, so you can't find it when you search Google for it. And we eventually figured out that it was initiating from those terrible ads, at the bottom of a newspaper article, there's like 10 reasons your doctor tells you you're fat or whatever, lose a dress size in a day or whatever. It's those terrible ads, and you click on that and it goes to a site that's not indexed. And they've also taken the likeness of some reporters from ABC in America, CNN in America. Dr. Sanjay Gupta is a very well-known physician in America who is the chief medical reporter for CNN. They've used his likeness and had him say, this is great, buy this thing. And they're always one step ahead of you. Yes, because we got one of them taken down by contacting the host, but then they just put it on a different host. Yeah. They just move it. And because AI is so powerful now, they can just make a new one in a couple of hours and put it back up somewhere else. And because it's not Google indexed, you can't find it. So it's really nefarious. It's really bad.
Is it not Google indexed on purpose by Google?
Yes. Oh, well, I guess they've maybe marked it as don't index it when they put it up. Yeah, I don't know.
It's doing the job, isn't it? It's getting people wanting to buy this quackery. But it's stunning because, again, like you say, we're still just behind the curve, aren't we? I mean, the villains are always using the latest whatever they can.
We've had similar things here, not necessarily for medical things, because it's illegal to advertise medical products here. But I mean, we've had it for the financial sector, with people advising, including the Skeptic's founder, patron, Dick Smith. Is one of the characters. They've used his vision and they've duplicated his voice very well. Yeah. It sounds really like Dick, to actually promote particular financial products and things. So
using popular newsreaders and stuff, and Dick Smith, and you see them talking with their own voice, but there's terrible.
Yeah, Dr. Sanjay Gupta made a video where he said, look, I didn't say this isn't me, but it's so convincing that we get maybe 4 phone calls a day from people saying, I heard about this magic pill you've got, can I please come in and buy it? And somebody did order it and they brought it in and showed it to us. It's called like Mind Magic or something horrendously like vague. And then you look at the side of the bottle and the ingredients are vitamin B. That's it. Really? It's just vitamin B, yeah. So I don't even know if there's vitamin B in the pills either. Yeah. They might just be sugar pills, yeah. Who knows? But yeah, it's so AI can get in the bin.
It's the old story, whatever we do, the villains are one step ahead of us, and we're always trying to counter that. I'm glad you're still there doing what you're doing. Yeah. And we had some great fun, though. I remember the video we made about the applied kinesiology. Remember?
Those bands. What were they called again?
Power bands.
Power bands. Yes. God, amazing.
Rachie and I wrote a script and we filmed it. Remember going out to film it? So we were there at down near Sydney Harbour, setting up the camera to film outside with Chrissy Wilson. Remember
Oh,
Chrissy was
yeah,
there?
from Tasmania.
And
yeah.
it was a hot day, and Rachie looks out over the view, and down below us there are people having a barbecue.
Yeah.
And you yell out, "Where's my sausage?"
Well, that sounds like me. I don't remember that, but it sounds like me. Yeah.
that video is still on YouTube.
Is it really?
You bet. You're in the lab, and you might remember we had a scene where we put all these words into a hat, and you pull out words to make a new form of mystical energy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That was fun.
That was fun. But we had some, we had some adventures in the old days. We can call them the old days now, I think.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess we can.
Well, Richard can because he's old.
Apparently I am. And Tim, for our listeners, an update on your situation. You're now a man of leisure, I understand.
Well, I wish. Yeah, they keep dragging me back to do stuff. I was supposed to have dropped all the tasks off and everything. That now that I've retired,
You've retired,
and I've passed all the part of the magazine, which of course folded, which is sad. We're moving into a website now, with a content-rich website, as we call it. But most of the things I was doing, the admin jobs, and there was a lot of those behind the scenes, so trying to pass them on to other very excited committee members who are very enthusiastic, especially those who weren't there when we passed them on to them. You're doing this, by the way. And so that's still happening, but of course I'm consulting in a way.
You're like Sherlock Holmes. You're a consulting skeptic instead of a detective. Insulting. No, because I think, from what I understand, you'll still be doing things like commenting here and there and media stuff.
And making rude comments and that sort of thing, basically, about the members of the Skeptics,
So nothing's changed?
Nothing's changed at all, no.
Are you officially a curmudgeon now, Tim?
I hope so, yeah. I do need a badge. It's just say curmudgeon, official curmudgeon. It'd be good, actually, yeah. I'd happily take that role. That's what Barry Williams, the previous executive officer, always described himself. Well, I always described him as anyway.
He was, yes.
A curmudgeon.
In a nice way, he was a curmudgeon.
Your family motto being bar humbug.
That's right. So, lots of changes, Rachie. But the more things change, the more they stay the same. We've still got the same battles. They come and go, as you were saying. They ebb and flow. We've still got the anti-vaxxers, as always. Yeah. And for all of us, it was a bizarre time during the pandemic because the anti-vaxxers came out in force. I mean, you must have seen that where you were too.
Well, not really. I live in the bush, so I don't really. I live in a rural area.
I've never been there. Is it quite rural, huh?
Yeah. The town. Well, the Jackson Hole has 10,000 permanent residents, but it's a ski hill and it's right next to Grand Teton National Park and Yellowstone National Park. So in summer, about 2 million people pass through, but it's a small population permanently. And so when COVID hit, we weren't really impacted that much because we had to social distance, but we only have 4 scientists in the lab anyway. So we're not close to each other anyway. And then you walk outside and there's wilderness everywhere, so there's not enough people to... In Wyoming, there's only 500,000 people in total, so everybody can social distance all the time. So, our town had vaccines really quickly. We continued to work the whole time. I think there was 4 days where we sheltered in place at the very beginning of the pandemic, and then after that it just went back to normal, and we had vaccines really quickly. So, well, I'll tell you one thing though, that the education I've had through the skeptical movement has been really beneficial to me as a scientist because, as we know, skepticism is a learnt tool. Not everyone's has a handle on it, and even scientists can fall victim to it. So I'm now the resident skeptic in my lab. So my boss will come to me and say, oh, this person suggested this to me, what do you think about this? And I'll just say, oh, that's garbage, or that's not, or whatever, because I am able to know how to apply my skeptical skills to debunking. And so it's always helped. Having critical thinking skills is always going to be good for everybody. Because, now everyone's getting phone calls every other day saying, oh, this is your daughter, I might have lost my phone, it's a different phone, all that kind of scam, all those kind of scams. And, this one happens a lot in the US, I don't know about here, but you get a phone call and it says this is the sheriff and you didn't show up for jury duty, and so now you have to pay me $500 in Google cards or whatever. And you're like,
Oh, that one, that's scam.
you know the gift card
The gift card
scams.
scam,
Yeah, I mean all those kind of things. Actually, there's a good channel on YouTube called Scammer Payback. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It's a guy, well, actually, it's a whole team of people, and they essentially waste time of scammers who call people up and try to convince them to go and buy $1,000 worth of gift cards and stuff like that.
Well, I'll add a link to that in the show notes. That should be a channel worth watching, I think. Everyone loves to see the villains get their comeuppance.
There's a few of them. There's a guy called Pierogi who runs Scammer Payback. There's another guy, an English guy, and then there's a few channels that do that sort of thing, and they basically just they are really effective because they do end up sometimes breaking up these call centres that then disperse. They end up popping up somewhere else, a week later, but they do disperse, and they're the kind of people that, ring up your mum and say, withdraw all of your superannuation for me and all that kind of stuff, and like send people broke, and it's just
It's terrible.
yeah.
I saw a wonderful thing once on YouTube where someone hacked into the call centre of that sort of thing and started putting messages on their computers for them. And they suddenly started running around the office saying, where is this? What's happening? Who's seeing us? Because they've got the tapping into their security cameras and then tapping into their computers and things. It was a wonderful thing to do.
Scammers being scammed.
Yeah, that's it, basically, yeah.
What a strange
There's also
world we
a
live
comedian
in.
in the UK who does that for a living almost. He sort of responds to the Nigerian prince sort of thing and then relates the whole correspondence he's had via email about it. It's quite a good act.
Do you guys ever get those random text messages that just say, "Oh, I'll see you at golf at 2
one
o'clock" or
recently.
something? What did it say?
This one said, I've been in touch with Scotty and we're having a meeting soon. I think, I don't know anyone named Scotty.
I get the ones, your parcel could not be delivered.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
What are these ones? What are these other ones?
So they're just like that, like a message that says, "Do you want to play golf tomorrow at 2 o'clock?" And then I think they expect you to write back, and then that confirms that that's an active mobile phone number. And then they'll say, "Oh, we should be friends." And then I think eventually they ask you for money. I don't know. But I mean, mostly I just block them, but sometimes I just like tease them and say, "Oh, thank goodness you got in touch with me because I'm in a ditch right now. And like there's a coyote eating my leg. Please send help." And then they're like, "Oh, sorry, I think this is the wrong number." I'm like, help me. Yeah. It's probably not the right approach. I think you should just block and report, but sometimes...
When you block them, they'll come in through a different number. They'll come in through a different identity.
It's like me leaving. Occasionally, I try not to, but occasionally I just have to leave a comment on a TikTok or something when something ridiculous is being said, and that's a rabbit hole.
Don't just stop.
I know.
I block Richard all the time, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, well, again, Rachie, what a delight it is to see you again. And we did so much good things in the old days, which are not that long ago, but I guess they are when you think about it. Maybe we're all just getting old. No, it's only me, Tim.
It's only you.
It's only me.
I'll get younger.
You do. Tim Mendham and Dr. Rachie, thank you very much.
Thanks, Richard.
Pleasure.
It can't just be me, but something serious is happening to my body. On the Moans is a new podcast from me, Kate Thomas, a pharmacist of 25 years and a newly minted perimenopausal oversharer. I pull back the curtains on perimenopause, hormones, rage-quitting jobs, disappearing libido, bone health, and the quiet suffering so many women carry alone. From estrogen quitting her full-time job with no notice and taking all of the neurotransmitters with her, to a friend breaking down in the kitchen whispering, "I thought it was just me." On the Moans is honest, evidence-based, funny, messy, and deeply human. And it's not just for women. Loads of men are wondering why their partner has gone from being reasonably well put together to now crying because she can't remember why she entered a room. We are not broken. It's not our fault. And we're definitely not alone in this. Join me for On the Moans, available now on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or via the link on the Skeptic Zone homepage.
You can count on Adrienne with Adrienne Hill.
Hello everyone, this is Adrienne Hill from Skookum Studios in Calgary, Canada. And I want to congratulate Richard on producing 900 episodes without missing a single week. That's over 17 years of the Skeptic Zone. And of course, we're going to start with some math facts about this monumental number. After all, this is You Can Count on Adrienne. So I turned to my trusted calculator, a friend's 7-year-old son, who reminds me a lot of my eldest son when he was that age, who told me, without hesitation, or pen or paper, that 900 is 30 squared. He also informed me it was 2 times 3 times 5, all squared. He went on stating that 2, 3, and 5 are all prime numbers. And for those of you who have forgotten your middle school math, a prime number is a number that is only divisible by 1 and itself. He went on to state that 3 and 5 are, quote, twin primes, Fibonacci primes, and more, end quote. And I have to be honest, I did have to look up what a twin prime was. For your information, it is a prime number that is 2 away from another prime. So 3 plus 2 is 5, or 5 minus 3 is 2. I have to say, I love learning things from kids. So here's a shout out to kids everywhere who are interested in math. Just keep on learning. Now it's time for some random facts about the number 900. Did you know that 900 seconds is 15 minutes? I will use this in honor of Richard going forward. For example, just give me 900 seconds, please. I like the ring of that. Premium phone numbers that charge an extra amount often start with 900 or 1-900, especially in North America, but also in many countries around the world, including Australia. Who uses these numbers? Some examples include adult chat lines, some tech support, and of course, psychic hotlines. The Roman numeral for 900 is CM, meaning 100, which is the C, less than 1000, which is the M. And next is 900 bracket skateboarding. And yes, there is a Wikipedia page with this name. And it is considered one of skateboarding's most technically demanding tricks, involving a 2.5 revolution, or 900 degrees, aerial spin performed on a skateboard ramp. In bowling, a 900 series, and yes, there is a Wikipedia page for that, is 3 consecutive perfect games. The maximum score per game is 300. And I am assuming this is 10-pin bowling, but it does not clarify this on Wikipedia. It seems the editors are unaware that there are other types of bowling, such as 9-pin, where the maximum score is 81, or 5-pin bowling, which I played avidly in elementary school and even made it to the provincial championships one year, which has a maximum score of 450 points. So for 5-pin, I guess that means a 900 series is 2 consecutive perfect games. While candlepin bowling, which I did for the first time with Melanie Tracy King, has a maximum score of 300, according to bowlingforbeginners.com, no one has ever scored a perfect game, so a 900 series in candlepin bowling is highly unlikely. As a side note, after I finished writing this, I went to the Wikipedia page, and look at that, it's updated and clarified. I wonder who did that. A favorite of mine is Yoda from Star Wars, who died peacefully and became, quote, one with the Force, end quote, at the age of 900. And of course, there is numerology surrounding the number 900. However, I thought Psychic Penny would know more about this than me, so I invited her here to tell you more. Welcome, Psychic Penny. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me. Now, listeners, the angel number 900 is such an important number. It combines the energies of 9 and 0. What does that mean? According to my favorite site, astrology.com, 9 represents completion, spiritual enlightenment, leading by example and wisdom. The number 0, which appears twice, making it doubly effective, represents new beginnings and a manifestation of thoughts. So, 900 is deemed a manifestation number. And if you keep seeing this number every day at 9 a.m. or 9 p.m., or on license plates, or on a calculator, or a price tag, or a computer, or if you keep hearing the number on television, or on this podcast, you will be embarking upon a journey of spiritual enlightenment. The angel number 900 has separate meanings for things such as money, career, love and relationships, and for your twin flame. Within these categories, you will discover profound guidance, such as that your ideas and hard work will be rewarded soon, that life is a continuous journey, that you should focus on your aspirations, and that you should embrace the spiritual path you are on. I encourage you to match each of those life-changing affirmations to the categories I previously listed. They are so specifically Barnum-like that this should not be difficult. In closing, the good news is that the angel number 900 has no negative meaning associated with it. Now I must return to defrost my crystal ball, which I accidentally left outside overnight. Happy New Year from Adrienne and me. Thanks, Psychic Penny. And speaking of angel numbers, I did something I have never done before, and that is I attended an angel reading with psychic medium Matt Fraser the other evening. What this meant is that instead of guessing what relative was trying to contact the sitter from spirit, he just had to tell the person that their guardian angel, who has never lived a human life but knows how to be your teacher, according to him, was there to guide them. This, in my opinion, made the session much easier for him to get so-called hits. He started the night off talking about the importance of angel numbers and paying attention to numbers specifically if they are in groups of threes, of course, such as 111, 888, and so on. We were allowed to post questions in the session, and I asked about the angel number 900 and what its significance was, since I kept seeing it over and over again this week. Alas, he did not answer my question. Maybe next time. In closing, congratulations, Richard Saunders, on 900 Skookum Skeptic Zone episodes with a toque tip to your tireless tenacity. And with a double-double in hand, I salute your spirit that is as sturdy as a Canadian Tire snow shovel. You have delivered dazzling discoveries, delightful discussions, and dynamic debunking week after week. With radiant research and riveting revelations, you've rolled out a record-breaking run that's both remarkable and resounding. Here's to many more marvelous maple-flavored moments and memorable mysteries. May your skeptical storytelling stay strong and your adventures always be as resourceful and engaging as a Canadian Tire aisle. This is Adrienne Hill from Skookum Studios in Calgary, Canada. Happy New Year, everybody!
This is Susan Gerbic from Psychics Explained. That's the YouTube channel where we discuss and analyze in great depth all those people who say that they can speak to the dead, all those readings, how they look like they're actually communicating with people. Why do people fall for this? There's a reason. It's much more complicated than you would think. Come to my channel, watch our videos. We would love to have you become part of our conversation. Just visit us on YouTube at Psychics Explained or Psychic Sex Planed on YouTube.
Again to go back to those archives at TROVE at trove.nla.gov.au, the online resource from the Australian Government and the National Library of Australia, full of digitised goodies, and we raid it regularly, plus other resources like the State Library of New South Wales for other newspapers, and, the world is our oyster. And with the new year just underway, why not? Let's go back and look at a couple of references here to predictions from years past. And our first look is from the pages of the Sun-Herald, dated the 2nd of January, 1972. I think I was in kindergarten, something like that. And we have a story here called Soothsayers Top 72 Guess List. And this is from Richard Beattie in New York. But otherwise, on that page, the same page, we have an interesting picture here of typical guru-type yoga hippies from 1972 sitting cross-legged on the grass. And the headline says, Setting the Mood for 72. Picnickers joined members of the Yoga Meditation Centre to celebrate New Year in a mood of peace and joy in Centennial Park yesterday. And it is a classic picture from that era. People wearing hippie-type clothes, beads and long hair and beards, and you get the idea. Anyway, what do the soothsayers say for 1972? New York, Saturday. Prince Charles will narrowly miss death. A new pope will be elected. Mrs. Indira Gandhi will be forced out as India's Prime Minister. These are some of the predictions for this year by 7 of the world's leading psychics. An annual survey by the National Enquirer has found that many of the professional dreamers have not used the imagination they have in the past. The major predictions could have been guesswork of anyone who follows the news. Oh, there's a shock. For instance, clairvoyant Maurice Woodruff predicts that there will be a serious loss of life in earthquakes along the US Pacific coast in March. If anybody wants to look up earthquakes in March 1972, there were a series of earthquakes near Los Angeles in February 1970. And many leading seismologists said at the time that the more serious quakes could be expected again soon along the critical San Andreas Fault. The Reverend Monty Ellis, a minister of the Spiritual and Divine Service Church in Los Angeles, better known as the soothsayer Akashian, has come up with the startling prediction that Teddy Kennedy will not run for the presidency of the U.S. this year. Kennedy has constantly insisted that he will not run this year, and there isn't a commentator of note in the whole country now claiming that he will switch his mind at the last moment. Woodruff has also foreshadowed the election of a new pope late in the year. Pope Paul has made it very clear for several years that he plans to retire at 75. And believe it or not, he will turn 75 this year. Some prediction. Eva Petulengro, there's a name I think we've covered before, billed in the Enquirer as the world-famous British astrologer, has gone out on a limb claiming that actor Steve McQueen could come very close to losing his life in a dangerous film stunt. Every year, Steve McQueen comes dangerously close to losing his life in a dangerous film stunt. Now, some of this sounds very familiar to me. It's possible in a trove in the dim, dark past I might have read a similar story because I seem to remember the Steve McQueen angle. Nevertheless, that's what was supposed to happen in 1972. Now let's look in the pages of the Sydney Morning Herald, dated Friday the 2nd of January, 1981. What's that, about 45 years ago? 1980s predictions spoiled by the unforeseen. A lot of things should have happened last year that never did. The Prime Minister, Mr. Fraser, should have retired because of ill health, with the Labour Party returned to power. There should have been devastating cholera in India, a light plane should have crashed into one of Sydney's tallest buildings, and Prince Charles should have been badly injured. There should have been more news on the 1967 disappearance of Mr. Harold Holt. These were some of the news events of 1980 as foreseen by Sydney clairvoyant Mrs. Beryl Smith, writing on December 21st, 1979. But Mrs. Smith was not on her own in missing the bus. Jean Nixon, the American seer who has based her reputation on predicting the 1963 assassination of President John Kennedy, wrote in The Star, a U.S. weekly magazine, about President Carter at the beginning of 1980. Quote, "An attempt on his life related to a church will be made in the fall," end quote. The worst thing that happened to President Carter physically was he fell and broke his collarbone. 7 of the 10 psychics appearing in the Star's rival, the National Enquirer, predicted that Senator Edward Kennedy would be the next president of the United States. Florence Vatty got it wrong about the economy too. She predicted a fall in the U.S. interest rates in 1980. In fact, they hit a record 21.5% at the end of the year. Irene Hughes of Chicago, who claimed to have predicted the exact week of the death of Howard Hughes, divined that the sex bombshell, Suzanne Summers, would be kidnapped in May and held for $1 million ransom. Other notable psychic predictions which did not come to pass include Bob Hope would be made ambassador to China, an earthquake would bring parts of Los Angeles tumbling down, a cruise ship would explode and sink in the Mediterranean, taking several hundred lives. A sex scandal would cost President Carter one of his high-ranking officials. The ghost of John Wayne would materialize at the Alamo. Singer Andy Williams would marry Bing Crosby's widow. Movie idol Burt Reynolds would marry Sally Fields. The U.S. rock team Sonny and Cher would remarry. Undeterred, the oracles have now come out with their predictions for 1981. One ventures that Mrs. Rosalind Carter would leave her husband, the president. Quote, "While she flaunts a red-hot romance with a novelist, Jimmy will write his memoirs," end quote, she writes. Other predictions worth watching. Former President Richard Nixon will file for bankruptcy. Larry Hagman, villain of Dallas, will become an evangelist. Frank Sinatra will be appointed ambassador to the Vatican. Jack Malby, a columnist for the Chicago Tribune, has charted the form of the psychics. He says that 4 out of 422 predictions over the last 5 years were right, and 2 of those were that Mr. Carter would become president. Mr. Malby's own forecast, quote, "They will be wrong in 1981 too." End quote. And finally, from the pages of the Age newspaper, dated the 21st of December, 1985. Bo Derek and the Psychic Test Tube by Jack Smith of the Los Angeles Times. Every few months, the usual psychics come forth with their predictions for the coming year. Rarely do we check into their previous predictions to see how they made out. Sometimes they are right in predicting inevitabilities, such as President Nixon's resignation. 8 out of 10 psychics in the National Enquirer foresaw it in 1974. But the next year, 5 out of 10 predicted that Gerald Ford would either resign from office or not run. In October 1984, I bought a copy of the Enquirer that had the top psychics' predictions for the near future. Since it has now been more than a year, I have opened that file to check them out. It may be that some of the predictions actually came true. Some of them concern the love affairs, marriages, divorces, and spiritual experiences of television, movie, and rock stars, and I have no idea what has happened to those people in their private lives. For example, Los Angeles psychic Florence Vatty predicted that, quote, Linda Gray, following the example of her Dallas co-star Charlene Tilton, you know what? The text here is smudged. It could be Tilton, will become a born-again Christian, end quote. I don't know whether Linda Gray has been born again or not. Miami psychic Mickey Dane predicted that, quote, Elvis's daughter Lisa Presley will have a short-lived romance with Michael Jackson, then will rebound into the arms of John Travolta, end quote. That may have happened, for all I know. But Dane also predicted that Bo Derek would have a test tube baby. I am not intimate with the personal life of Bo Derek either, but I think I would have heard about her having a test tube baby. Psychic Sean Robbins took a deep plunge and predicted that Liz Taylor would, quote, be swept off her feet by Monaco's Prince Rainier, and they'd marry at his palace, end quote. As I say, I do not keep up with the love lives of movie stars, but I doubt that the marriage of Liz and Prince Rainier in his palace would have escaped the attention of anyone who owns a television set. As far as I know, that marriage has not taken place. Robbins also predicted that Linda Evans of Dynasty would become, quote, embroiled in a sizzling romance with Ted Kennedy, end quote. Lots of predictions about the late Ted Kennedy here. As far as I'm concerned, Ted Kennedy's love life is his own. Robbins also predicted that, quote, a massive blaze at a Monte Carlo casino would trap Frank Sinatra and several other celebrities. But Princess Caroline would become a heroine when she leads the frightened guests to safety, end quote. I am waiting. Robbins also predicted that, quote, a bomb will explode on England's royal yacht Britannia. 2 crewmen will be killed, but Queen Elizabeth will escape with only minor injuries, end quote. God save the Queen. Robbins' last shot was a prediction that Michael Jackson would be trampled by an elephant and injured seriously while making a television plug for an animal protection organization. One of my favorites is Khalees Bernhardt, who predicted that, quote, the U.S. Air Force will admit it has a UFO hidden in a hangar in the desert, end quote. Bernhardt also predicted that, quote, Alan Alda will have to swim for his life through shark-infested waters when his chartered yacht sinks at sea, but he'll reach safety, end quote. And my admiration and shout-out always to the wonderful Alan Alda, to this day, a huge supporter of science and reason. Chicago psychic Irene Hughes predicted that Russia would shoot down another Korean airline jet for trespassing. Hughes also predicted that, quote, the producers of Dallas, what's all this Dallas? It was big at the time, Dallas and Dynasty, it was very big TV shows at the time. The producers of Dallas will talk Nancy Reagan into making several guest appearances, playing a nurse who runs a drug rehabilitation center where JR will be treated for an addiction, end quote. I also happen to have a copy of The Inquirer for February 1980, with its, quote, amazing predictions, end quote, for the 1980s, including the following. A devastating war between China and Russia will leave America the undisputed number one power in the world. Archaeologists will unearth a second set of 10 Commandments, and the rest of the paragraph is just blocks because of the poor reproduction. I will do my best. U.S. researchers will develop an incredible magic pill that wipes out cancer by, and the rest is illegible. That's a pity. I'd like to know more about that. My favourite prediction of that crop was made by astrologer psychic Frederick Davies, who tipped that, quote, Jane Fonda will split with husband Tom Hayden and wed Californian Governor Jerry Brown, end quote. Of course, we still have 5 years to go in the 1980s, and who knows, maybe Jane Fonda will marry Jerry Brown. It is also possible that between the time I write these words and you read them, all these wonderful events actually will have taken place. But I predict that they will not. Well, there we are, just a random grab bag of some predictions and stories covering predictions made decades ago. And around this time of the year, if you watch TV or listen to some radio or look at some newspapers, you'll probably find, once again, people making predictions for the coming year. I wonder what some of the more interesting predictions for 2026 will be. Maybe I should have a look around. Anyway, psychic predictions, all sorts of wonderful and bizarre things in our future. Find out more. Head to Trove at trove.nla.gov.au or your local library, because when you do that, you never know what you might find. Thank you for listening to the Skeptic Zone podcast. And again, thank you all for listening. Many of you for listening for, 18 years or so. And just in the last week, Lara Benham and I appeared on Psychics Explained, the YouTube channel by Susan Gerbic, where we analysed a psychic reading by one Matt Fraser. Now, you can see that. It goes for about an hour and a half. It's very interesting. If you go to the homepage of the Skeptic Zone and look in this week's show notes, you'll see a link to that reading or that analysis. I wonder what you think. Coming up on next week's show, I might do the story that I'm working on about Second Opinion, that dreadful quack show from 20 years ago here in Australia. I was aiming to get it out this week, but there's a lot more research needed. So in the future, I'll predict in the future that'll come along. We look at other predictions for the coming year. We look at manifesting. Do you manifest? Do you wish upon a star? Do you wish for things to happen? And also we'll have an analysis of the anti-vaxxer who came and was yelling at us at the live Skeptic Zone a month or so back. And that was the Why Smart Women Zone live show. And you might remember at the end during Q&A, an anti-vaxxer basically went on a bit of a tirade. And you can see a link to that analysis, which we'll be covering next week, again at the Skeptic Zone homepage. But anyway, lots coming up next week, and I hope lots coming up in 2026. But for this week, for the first week in January, for the first episode in the 900 series, this is Richard Saunders signing off from Sydney, Australia.
You've been listening to the Skeptic Zone podcast. Please visit our website at www.skepticzone.tv for episodes and show notes with links going back to 2008. You can follow the Skeptic Zone on Facebook, X, TikTok and YouTube by clicking the links at our homepage, together with links to support the show financially via Patreon or PayPal. The Skeptic Zone is an independent production. The views and opinions expressed by our guests are not necessarily those of the Skeptic Zone podcast or any other skeptical organisation.
Well, it's the beginning of a new year, but yes, the dice game is back. Hello to everybody who listens after the music to the end of the show. I'm here in Parallax Studios with Lara Benham. Hello, Lara.
Hello.
And joining us all the way from Salinas, California, die in hand, it's Susan Gerbic from Guerrilla Skepticism on Wikipedia. Hello.
Hi, Lara. Hi, Richard.
We've just had a conference together for the last 6 hours or whatever it was.
It just feels like it's like 2025. It feels like it was 5 years long.
Well, it's 2026 here.
Yeah, that's right. We're in two different years. Susan's in 2025 and we're in 2026.
Yeah, that's true.
It all makes sense. We're going to play
here.
a nice game. This is where we roll a die. It's a 6-sided die. Susan, can you tell us about the die you're about to roll?
Yes, I have a 6-sided die here from Squaring the Strange podcast.
Excellent podcast.
It's white with little green dots on it, and it has, for the number 1, it has a little logo of the Squaring the Strange of Celestia Ward and Ben Radford. It was a little gift that they gave me.
Big shout out to Celestia and Bennett Squaring the Strange. Again, one of the best skeptical podcasts out there.
Yeah,
we're going to roll this die 4 times, 3 and then 4, because that's just the way we roll. Get it?
Don't encourage him.
All right. Susan, what do you guess the first number will be?
Well, it's going to have to be, see, the number on here that is missing is the 1 because it's the Squaring the Strange logo. So I'm going to guess a 5.
Of course you are. Lara?
2.
Richard will say 6. Go. Susan, roll that die.
It's a 6.
Oh, yes. I like this game already. Okay, let's...
Unbelievable.
I'm glad you're writing this down for posterity.
Yeah. And you at home or wherever you are, you can play along too. Use your psychic predictions to come up with a number. Susan, what do you think the next number will be?
Well, there's only 6 numbers on here, and I think that the number I'm going to have to come up with, I think is next, is a 5.
I'm shocked.
I'm going to stick with 2.
2. I'm going to go for 4. Okay, Susan, roll that die.
It's a 5.
Oh.
I knew it. I called it, man. I am awesome. It just amazes me. My psychic powers are finely tuned.
Yeah,
it's out of this world.
50% is not bad.
And okay, last for the initial 3, what do you guess?
Well, because 5 came up a minute ago, and I should probably pick another number, I'm going to go with 5.
Of course you are.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 1, or the Square and Strange logo.
That would be.
I'm going to go with 3.
Why do you guys change? I don't get it. Why do you change? It just makes sense to me. Okay,
why not?
Let's see if we can get another 5. Come on, 5. Mama needs new shoes. It is a 1.
Oh, that's all of us. I did that. 1. We've all had one.
We've all had a win.
Amazing.
Oh, no, seriously?
It's got to be above chance.
Mystical energy of the...
So what are we going to do with the 4th roll?
Okay, the 4th roll is what?
I guess it'll have to fall off the table or something and underneath the cabinet, and I can't get to it.
What do you guess for the 4th roll, Susan?
I think I'll go with something different, and I'll go with a 5.
I've written it down already.
Yeah, you already put that down.
Lara?
You were psychically guessing Susan's guess. What have I gone with so far? I've gone with 1 and 2. I'm going to go with 6.
6? I'm going to go with... 7. No, I can't do that. I'm going to go with 3 again. Okay.
Okay, so you've already... I think that's the big story is that you've already written down what my prediction will be. I did. Yes. I think that's amazing. I don't know how could you possibly predict my number?
No. Psychic.
Okay, cool. It's a 5.
What?
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. The first winner of the 2026 dice game is Susan.
Somebody got.
Susan was rolling the dice. So
no, seriously. You can hear it. I made it so you could even hear it, and I picked up the die and I showed it to you guys over Zoom. But I wouldn't be able to pick it up and hold it and find the die number quick enough.
I know. I should have turned on one of my cameras back here. That's
we trust you. We do.
But somebody else might not.
That was amazing. All 4 numbers we got.
Yes.
And it's squaring strange that was,
Susan, how can people find out more about you and what you're up to?
You can follow me on every social media practically out there. You can find me as Susan Gerbic or S Gerbic, and I'm easy to find. You can also hear me on the Skeptic Zone.
You can.
I've been on there once or twice, maybe
5 times.
5 times.
And I'll be at SciCon too this year. The only thing I've been invited to this year so far.
Oh, thank you, Susan.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Lara.
Thank you.